What's up, guys? Today we've got a tier list video of every single Telepath album under the Telepath name. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Our first album we've got here, Another Night Together. It's made in 2015 and a very good one. I'd say it's very ambient and stretched out. There's only 2 tracks in this one, both 45 minutes long. And I really like the first track. The sample in that one's really good. The second track it's good. It's not the best though, but I think I'm gonna have to put this one up at A tier. Starting off this tier list, very solid choice. On to the next one. This one is Secret Lover. This was came out in 2016. It's an alright album. It's pretty funky. It's got a shorter album, but I'm gonna have to throw this one in at C tier. It's not amazingly great like most of the other ones, but it's alright. We'll throw it at C. Next one, we got a really good one here. This one is Dreamland. This one is very funky, very classic vaporwave style. Bunch of classics from Telepath in this one. We've got just a ton of classics. Very good, very classic vaporwave style from Telepath. This was created in 2014. I gotta throw it in at S. I've just got pretty much the whole album in my playlist. It's very good. Next we've got The Light of Our Love. This one I haven't listened to too many times, but I think this one's alright. It's the newer style of Telepath. This one came out in 2017, so this is when I think Telepath started to fall off after like 2016-ish. The style of his vaporwave just wasn't my favorite, but the synths are fine in this one. It's like nice and funky still. But anyways, I think I'm gonna have to throw this one in at C tier with a Secret Lover. The next one, this one is probably my second favorite Telepath album of all time. This one is Your Love. It was created in 2015, peak Telepath. This one's got a bunch of great samples in. It's very vintage feel to it. Very long track to start out. And yeah, every single song on this album is just great, I think. So I'm gonna have to throw this one by Dreamland up in S tier. Next one we have A. This one came out in 2016. So I don't think this album has much going for it. It's pretty long and droney, which I really usually like, but there's something about this one that just doesn't hit home for me. It's not as great as all the other Telepath albums. No really memorable tracks in it either, so I mean, I'm just gonna have to throw it in at D. Next one we have Amaterasu. This one is a classic. It's probably This is the first album I listened to from Telepath, and it got me hooked. It was made in 2014, so around peak Telepath era. This one I'm gonna have to give an A because there's tons of great songs. It's a nice long album and a bunch of classics in there. Very funky, yeah, just classic Telepath style. 2014 Telepath style. It's very nice. Next we have Withdrawl From The Body. This one doesn't have much going for it, just like A. It's a little this one came out in 2014, I think. Or no, 2013. This one, yeah, like I said, doesn't have much going for it. It was one of Telepath's first, or one of his earlier releases, but it doesn't really have much going for it, other than like one song. Not really sure which one it is, but it's a pretty boring album, I'd say. It's one of those that I think he was just testing out what he liked and what everyone liked, so I'm gonna throw it in at D tier next to A. And next one we have Bbluee Ddreams, and this one is a very good one. I've recently listened to this one a lot. It's grown on me a ton. There's a bunch of classics in this one, a bunch of like American samples from Cat System Corp, who is the feature in this album, and a bunch of great samples all around the board for Telepath and Cat System Corp on this one. Bunch of classics. You can listen to this one all day. I'm gonna have to throw this one in at B. Very high B. Next one we have is Andromeda. Made in 2014, so around that peak Telepath era. This one is very drony, this one's very ambient, and it's a very great album. The first 3 tracks are really nice, and I think I have like a lot of songs in my playlist of this album. I don't really have much to say about it, but it's best listened to experience it. I'm gonna throw this one in A. It's grown on me like crazy, but it's a very great album and I recommend it. Next one we have is Face to Face. This one is I think it's a lot like Amaterasu, but it's got a very long 45-minute track in the middle of it, and I think that track is very nice. I think there's like most of the songs in there are pretty good. Not enough to fit in A tier, but I will throw it in B tier. It's a very good album. Probably like a mid B tier for me. Now this album, it's Iterstellar Love. This one is just a wild ride in collaboration with Vincent Remember. They both do a very great job of sampling and putting together great songs for this album. This is one of my favorites from Telepath. I'm gonna have to throw it in an S. There's just so many great songs in this album that have such great samples and even some created from the ground up. It's very good. Next we have Gateway. This one is a very classic vaporwave style. Almost very mall-softy. It's got a bunch of mall-soft in it. It's very good. I usually love a good mall-soft song, so this one's got a few classics in it also. We have just a bunch of good songs. So this one I'm gonna throw in at A. Next, we have To the Future. Now, this one is very similar to Gateway in that it's got a few Mallsoft-ish sounding songs in it, and very classic. This was another 2014 release from Telepath, and very peak Telepath style, I'd say. I'm gonna have to put this one in at A. Again, next to one that we just did. Next we have a very well recognizable one from the community, and just a very classic Telepath album. This one is Antara Communications. This one is going straight up to S tier, obviously, but the type of music that is in this album is just best described listening to. It's like a futuristic utopia. The first song in this album is a nice long, I'd say, brain wipe of just sounds, and then it takes you right into the classic Telepath style, the very ambient style of Telepath, more futuristic, like tech kind of sound. Not really sure how to describe it, like I said, but obviously this one's going back into S tier. One of the best Telepath. Next we got another really great one. This one is Everlasting Love. This was made in 2015, so still peak Telepath. This one is very long tracks of great samples stretched out. It's a good sleeping album. I'd say there's tons of songs in there that sound great. Very calm, and this one's one of my favorites. Tons of good songs in here. The first song is very interesting, but I like it a lot. Just a bunch of vocals mashed together. There's some weird kind of beat. I like it a lot. This one's going in S for me. Growing on me a ton. So next one we have Disconnection. This one's a good one. It's a classic Telepath kind of style. There's a couple of great songs in here. First song, if I can remember, is a very long song. I think it's around 45 minutes. That's a good one. I don't have it in my playlist though. There's a few other great songs in here, great samples. It's another all-around great Telepath album. This one's gonna have to be a high B tier for me. Next, we have a very classic one, Iterstellar Intercouse. There's just a ton of great long songs in here. I think this is an over 2-hour album. First couple songs, just great samples, very stretched out perfection. And then the last couple of songs, once again, very great pacing of like the sample. And yeah, this one's just gonna have to go in at S for me. Just a classic Telepath work. Next we have All For You. This one's an alright album. It's a shorter album. Very funky, newer Telepath style. This was made in 2016, so a little bit after peak Telepath, I think. This one, I'm just gonna have to throw in at C. It doesn't really have much going for it, just like Secret Lover and this other one in C tier, but yeah, I just got to throw it in C. Next one we have Telepath's first album. I think it's called With. Yeah. It's very funky and jazzy. It's a lot like Telepath's 2014 releases. A few notable samples in here, but it's an alright album. It's probably a low B tier for me. It's a lot better than the C tier albums that I've put in before, but it just slips in that B tier. Next one we have a very classic one, Virtual Fantasy 2097. This one's a collab with Golden Living Room. Very great at describing what a barren wasteland of just digital tech. I'm not really sure like how to describe it, but it's just amazing at some of the samples and beats put together by both creators in this album. It's a nice long album also. I'm gonna have to throw this one at A. Best described as just listening to it with most of the Telepath albums. Now, next we have Telepathic with a collab with Cat System Corp. Now this one just has a ton of classics, a ton of great samples. Every song is great in this one. There's so many, just classics. Cat System Corp does a great job. Although he does have a little less albums than I would have preferred on this. It should have been a 50-50 split, but I guess Telepath is probably like a 60-40 split. He has more songs in this one, but I'm not complaining. This album is just amazing. There's a ton of classics in here, so I'm just gonna throw this one at S. For me, it's an amazing album. Next, we have To the Future. This one's spans like 4 tracks that are all like 15 minutes long. Very great samples for each of them. Track number 2 is very good. Perfect sample for that one. Well paced out, Telepath style. And then the track at the end, very good too. Very somber, but very good melody to that one. This is a classic from Telepath. 2014 release, and I'm gonna have to put this one at A. Then we have Faith. This one is a collaboration with HKE. This one was created right before Virtual Dream Plaza, Telepath's side project, Alias, which I will have a video coming out doing the same thing of this sometime in the future. I would love to do that style of video. Anyways, this album, I don't think it's that great, but it's more like the previous C tier albums. I'm gonna have to throw this one in at C tier also. It's an alright album. It's very ambient, HKE style. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to throw it in and see. Nothing memorable about it, but it's an alright album. Give it that. Next we have For a Long Time. I think this was Telepath's first really good album. It has the first song I ever heard of Telepath in it, so it's got that going for me. There's a bunch of classics in this one. Like I said, I think this is Telepath's first really good album. I think this is where he hit his stride in the 2013 through 2015 era. I'm gonna have to give this one A. It's a lot like all the others on A tier, or I should clarify more. It's a lot like this one. These three are a lot alike. They were made all in a few months, I think. So yeah, that one's a very good one. Next we have With Eyes. This was a 2013 release, I think, before this one, For a Long Time. And song 2 was actually stolen from, or I think song 2 was stolen by Cat System Corp in News at 11, which is a very popular album among the Vaporwave community. And also, number 4 on this one was actually stolen by, I think it was actually stolen from the Hologram Plaza. And I think that's just interesting, because songs are a little bit different, but obviously the same sample and stuff. But I just thought that was pretty interesting. Anyways, this album's pretty good. I'd describe it as pretty much the same as this one here. I'm gonna have to throw it in at B tier right next to it. But it's middle of the road. Right before Telepath hit his stride. Next one we have, I think, the Telepath's greatest album. My favorite album, Telepath, Beyond Reality. This one's just a very futuristic mall soft. Very great samples. Track number 2 is an amazing sample. Track number 1 is a very great song. Track number 3, very great sample. There's just a ton of great songs in this one. Every single song in this album is great. Yeah, just best described, listen to it yourself. It's very mall softy, but also in the Telepath manner. But I'm gonna have to give this one an S, obviously. It's just a great album. Next one we have Telepath and Aegea. Don't know how to pronounce that. Unison. This one came out in 2016. It's pretty upbeat, and it's got some nice sounds to it. It's the newer Telepath style, so it doesn't keen to me as much, but it's an alright album. I'd put it at high C tier. It's a lot like this album here. But yeah, overall it's an alright album. I don't have much to say about it. Next we have Gateway, Ascension. This one is a collab with HKE, and I think this is kind of like a dollar store version of 2814. The HKE part wasn't that great, in my opinion, but the Telepath part was okay. I'm gonna have to throw this one at a C tier. Once again, it doesn't have much going for it. It's just a little boring for me. Not many great sounds in there. Next we have Path to Lost Eden. It's a collab with Nimesh. It's a very great album, very naturey, very naturistic kind of vibe. It's a very great ambient album. Very great samples by Nimesh and Telepath. I think it's split 50-50. Nimesh takes the first half. It's very great. Anyways, this one's gonna have to be a high B tier. I can't decide if it should be an A tier or a B tier, but I think we'll put it in B tier for now. But I think this one will grow on me still. Next we have Building a Better World, collaboration with Cat System Corp. This one came out in 2019. I think this is the best album that Telepath has released since around 2015. It's a very great futuristic ambient album. I think both Telepath and Corp collaborated on each track in the song. Worked together on this album very nicely. It was the first album in Horizon Records, so it's a very good start to the record company for Cat System Corp. But anyways, I'm gonna have to throw this one at B. High B tier. I think this one will still grow on me, but I can throw this one in B tier anyways right now. Next we have Nightlife. Last but not least, one was a collaboration with Silver Richards, or Ricards. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but this one came out in 2013, one of the earlier Telepaths albums. This is right when he started to hit his stride also. There's a ton of very funky nightlife type songs by both Silver Richards and Telepath. It's a very classic Telepath release. One of the first ones I listened to. Got me hooked on Telepath. And obviously I'm going to have to throw this one at A. It's just a very great album all around. There we have it. Every single Telepath album ranked. Feel free to leave your opinions in the comments below. I know some people have different opinions about different albums of Telepaths, but this is my interpretation of the whole Telepath saga, I'd say. Every single name, or every single album under the name Telepath. I hope you guys like this style of video. Like I said, we're going to be doing a virtual Dream Plaza style of this in the future, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. But anyways, we'll see you guys in the next video.